Let's get started with understanding what exactly is ESP32 and why we are going to use one to create IoT applications. While the common convention will always say that ESP32 is a microcontroller, but you should always remember that it's much more than just a microcontroller. In fact, it's a complete system on chip, or SoC as we developers used to call it. Now, why this SoC? Why not the usual Arduinos or STM32s or those kind of controllers? There is a reason for it. The system on chip is an integrated package of a microcontroller, a very big amount of flash memory, and coupled with Bluetooth and Wi-Fi enabled on the same chip with an antenna. Now, because of that, what happens is ESP32 becomes a very ideal choice whenever you want to create any connected applications or connected system project. For that sake, any kind of IoT applications created particularly for IoT applications. If you want to have a look at the features of ESP32, I'm not particularly giving it over here because it's much better to see it onto the official website itself. So I'm going to open the official website, that is Espressif, the developer of ESP32 chip, and on the same website we'll try to see what are the different features available into it. What microcontroller is there? Is it ARM or is it something else? Then how many pins are there and what exactly is ESP32? The purpose of this session is to understand what is ESP32. We are not going to look into the modules, but just the ESP32 IC itself. So this is the page of ESP32, the official website of Espressif Systems, and this is the landing page of ESP32 chip. Now, what exactly is ESP32 and how Espressif creates them? You have to understand this thing first before we try to use it. So ESP32, as we were saying, primarily is an SoC or a system on chip. But Espressif also sells the modules created around ESP32, which makes it easier to use them. Now you can see you can either have ESP32 modules or you can have ESP32 dev kits, documents, everything is written over here. Now if I go to ESP32 modules, then I will come to a different page, and here you will see what are the different ESP32 modules which are available. The most popular one which we are going to use in this course also, is called as ESP32 VROM series or WROOM series. Now there is a document for this VROM series. I don't want you to download it. I don't want you to have it. We are just going to discuss it over here because we don't want to go into the exact technical details of the module itself. So I have this module in front of me. Let me open it. This is the module datasheet, ESP32 VROM 32E or 32UE. So what we are interested in is the primary features of this module, how it looks like. So the module looks like this, as you can see. This is not just the system on chip, but it's a complete module which consists of the antenna as well. So it is built around the ESP32 series of SoC, which is having an Extensa dual-core 32-bit microprocessor. There are a number of different flash chip available or flash options available. Primarily the one we use is either 8 MB flash or 16 MB flash, which is quite good. Then this module is also having 26-pin GPIOs or general purpose input-output pins. Let's go into the details of this chip and its features. So you can see there are a number of different peripheral support for this IC, for this module. You can interface SD card via SPI, there is UART, then there is SDIO, I2C, PWM, motor PWM, then I2S, infrared, pulse counter, means timer counters, GPIOs, then the input pins of ESP32 are also having capacitive touch inputs. We have ADC, DAC as well as this additional protocol TWAI. Overall, it's a complete package where you can utilize or connect most of the current and latest embedded interfaces. If you look into the Bluetooth side or wireless side of it, so it has got 2.4 gigahertz Wi-Fi and Bluetooth. So center frequency is 24122 to 2484 megahertz. The Wi-Fi is 802.11 BGN, which is supposedly the latest one, supports 150 Mbps of data transfer, and we have both Bluetooth version 4.2 as well as BLE. The applications are literally limitless with this particular chip, and most important reason why this is so popular around the world is definitely because of the cost. It's a combined package. You don't need a microcontroller and a wireless device to be interfaced with each other and then start building your application. Here you can create your application directly around this module. Now, as you can see closely, this is just a photograph for representation. But if you look at it closely, you can see it's a module. Okay, so it's an SMD or surface mounting type module. I don't think so you can directly use a module like that unless you are very good at soldering and all the things. So what do we need? Whenever something like this is there, what we need is something extra. Just a module will not do for us. So what I will need, or what we will need is, let's say this is your ESP32 module. Then you will need a lot many different things along with it. So you are going to require a USB interface to download the code. Then you are going to require power supply for this board. Then you are going to require some peripherals with this board. Now what people or manufacturers across the world are doing is, they are taking this ESP32 module and then creating a module of their own. So the heart is ESP32 Vroom. I'll show it to you on hardware, don't get confused. And then something like this is created around it. Let's say this is called as ESP32 Node MCU. Now similar to that, I'm just giving you an example of Node MCU, but similar to that, there are number of different modules built around ESP32. And if you open any electronic stores, for example in India, let me open robo.in, which is one of the most popular stores. So if I open that, and for that matter any such online store, and if you search for ESP32, you will be overwhelmed with a lot of different options, and that happens with everyone who is starting to experiment with this series of devices. So I just searched for ESP32, and if you look at the results, I mean, there are lots of them. So Nano ESP32, ESP32 Audio, ESP32 CAM, AI Thinker Node MCU, ESP32 OLED module, TTGO, ESP, and you know what happens is, all of this will get very soon, very quickly confusing to you. I'm not saying you cannot use any of them. Once you understand, once you learn how to use ESP32, you can choose any one of these modules and start creating your project. Even the direct modules are also available, as you can see here. But to get to that stage, we need to set a common ground. And for the sake of training course, I have to choose a kind of module which is available here in India, as well as my friends who are taking this course in South Africa or China or in America, in European regions, everywhere. I need a kind of module which should be required or which should be available almost everywhere around the world. Only then we can set a common ground, because previously it has happened with me. The same kind of Node MCU which is available over here may be available in a different package somewhere else. Although they are cheaper, but the standardization is not there, and that's what makes it difficult to use a board for a course. We need something standard so that whatever we state here should be easily replicable at your end. And to do that, what we do is we use this Adafruit HUSA32 board. Let me just go through it. I'll just Google it, Adafruit HUSA32, because I want to show you the official page on Adafruit website. Now HUSA32 is an ESP32 board created by Adafruit. Now Adafruit, I guess we all know about it. If you don't know about it, means you are really recently getting started with embedded systems. Adafruit is a New York based company which creates a lot of different hardwares, a lot of different tutorials, as well as they sell number of different embedded devices, chips, development board, DIY kits. Now ESP32 HUSA is something which is created by Adafruit. They call it ESP32 Featherboard. Now We are going to use this throughout our course. What is the reason for it? The reason is very simple. The same board is available almost across the globe. Anywhere you go, you can get this board. And if you can't get this board, you can directly order it from Adafruit. I don't want to go into the complexities of some weird Chinese boards which may be available today, may not be available tomorrow, and things get stuck. No, we want something standard, and that's the reason we are going to choose this particular module. The features are listed here itself. If I zoom in the page a bit, it has got a 240 megahertz dual core microcontroller, integrated 520 KB of RAM, which is huge for microcontrollers. 4 MB of flash, integrated Wi-Fi, dual Bluetooth, onboard antenna, low noise amplifier. There is a Hall sensor also. We'll see why it is used. 10 capacitive touch interfaces. There is a 32 kHz oscillator for RTC. There are 3 UARTs, 3 SPI, 2 I2C, 12 ADC inputs, 2 I2S and 2 DSs. Of course, these are all on paper specifications. When you are using the Wi-Fi on ESP32 chip, we may not be able to use all the features. Point being, we are going to use ESP32 HUSA model by Adafruit. I have a board with me. Let me show that to you. If you can see, this is the ESP32 HUSA module that I have. So it's not going to get focused, or so for that sake what I'm doing is I'll remove that module. I'll just show it from you over here. HUSA 32 feather. Okay, so this is the same one that we are going to use here, which you can see in the page over here. Look at it. This is the back side. This is the back side of my board. So there should not be any kind of confusion whenever we are experimenting on ESP32. However, if you are confident enough, then you can apply the same learning to any of the other custom boards also. It is my recommendation to use this board because my experiments will be done on this board. I hope things are clear for you. So wherever you are, just search for ESP32 HUSA 32 in your country. You will find a reseller near you and grab a couple of boards. Why I say couple of boards? Because if you are just getting started, most probably you will make mistakes. And when you make mistakes, you may directly end up frying the board or damaging the board. So it's always good to have one more extra at your hand. It is never harmful, and in my experience, you will immediately get started with your first board, probably do something, install in your home or sell it as a project, and you will want the another board for sure. Thank you for watching this video. In the next video, we'll get started with experimenting with ESP32 HUSA board. Thank you guys.